Hi guys, welcome to another episode. Today we're going to work on the heel down. The heel down, it's a very good technique to practice, even if we don't have it if we don't apply it in our playing, because it works on the up motion of our foot. So it's very good to improve the range of motion of our ankle. In fact, usually when we play the ankle motion, a lot of drummers tend to have a very small dynamic range. Instead, if we work with the heel down will force us to have from, let's say, 0 degrees to plus 30 degrees. So we will really work on the up motion, and it's a great way to work on our ankle to make it even more elastic. This, of course, will improve our speed, power, and endurance in the single strokes in any technique. Heel down, heel up, heel toe, slide, and so on. Okay, so the first thing that we have to work on and that we have to pay attention to when we do this kind of motion is that we have to educate our body first. So we will start this workout without the pedals, just putting our feet on the floor and starting to work on the up motion. So our starting position will be at this point, and we'll just step the floor and go back to the initial position again. So most of the time our foot will stay with the toes raised. This might cause some a little bit of tension here in this muscle, so we want to maybe alternate a little bit our feet, the right and left foot, so that we don't get too tired in one of the legs, but we will stay relaxed, and we will be able to do this kind of motion. Once we have figure out a way to keep this motion going for 30 to 60 seconds in a stable BPM, so with a stable timing, without feeling any stress, we can go and apply this on the pedal. But first, there are a few things that I want to go through. Let's make sure that we don't press on the floor with the heel, that we don't have this type of approach, and that our foot doesn't move while we are doing this, but that all the weight of our body stays on the stool. We just lay the foot on the floor, and then from there we raise the toe. And on the other side, we don't raise the heel so that our foot tends to go backward. So if we see that our foot tends to go forward, this means that we're pressing down with the heel, we're doing this, and we don't want this to happen, because then this is going to be a press motion, and it's not going to be what we want to do when we're on the pedal. So we have to make sure that the foot is not going forward. On the other side, we don't want the foot to go backwards neither, because this means that we're tending to raise the heel, and so the foot tends to go backwards. So let's make sure that the foot is still, and that we work just by raising the toe, and that our weight is on the stool. So once we feel like our body is ready and we feel comfortable in doing this, we can start working on the pedals. And as we will go on the pedals, we will feel that it's still going to be hard for us to go straight away and deal with the spring. So a very good step that we can do in between is to take the springs off, get rid of the springs, and start applying the same motion that we were doing without the springs. So we will start in our initial position with the toe raised. We will press down, and then we will follow the pedal back. So we will have to think of not pressing down, because if not, we will choke the rebound. The pedal won't come back. And so we will have to keep following the pedal back. And another thing is not to kick the pedal board in this way, because when we will have the spring on, it means that the spring tension will pull the beater back up, and we are going to push down with the micromuscle of the articulation of the ankle, which can sustain much fatigue, and this will create a lot of pressure that will prevent us to making the heel down, to actually do the heel down in a relaxed way. So it's very important to stay synchronized to the pedal, to the board, and stay unison with it. Then once we feel comfortable with this, we will have to think about something. We will have to think about the fact that when we put the spring on, the pedal will have a minimum speed. So with the spring, with the heel down, we won't be able to go slower than this. If we go slower than this, it means that we have to work against the spring. Without the spring, we will have to get to a speed that it's around this speed, so that we are prepared to go to the minimum speed of the spring tension. So we will have to go from very slow, which will be possible because we won't have the spring requiring us to keep the pedal in motion. So we can start from a very slow BPM to work on the control. Same thing, so remember of the up motion to come back and not to press down. Be very relaxed and just lay the foot on the board. And we'll get to a speed that will allow us to be ready for the speed of the spring, which of course will depend on the settings that our pedal is going to be at. So once we put the spring back up, we will feel that starting straight away, pressing down, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work because, of course, the spring tension is trying to pull the beater back up, and starting from zero in this position is going to be harder. It's like if we want to throw something and we throw it in this way without having a decent run-up that allows us to throw the object further away. So the same thing we can do here with the leg motion. So we can do a leg motion first so that it activates the pedal, and then from there we can just maintain the pedal in motion. Also here, it's very important not to press down and to have these kind of motions. We want the beater to come as much back as possible. It has to be as much close to the shoe as possible. Okay, so have a very wide range of motion. And then we want to stay synchronized to the pedal and not have wear motion or kicking the board of the pedal, because then here we will clearly feel that the beater is pulling back and we're pressing down, and so we feel all the physical workout. Instead, we want to make sure that with very little effort we can maintain this motion going, so that we take advantage of the spring. So once we activate the spring, we just follow it based on the speed that we want to play at. It can be very slow, it can be slower, it can be faster. So this is a great technique for fast things and slow things. It really benefits the balance of our body, because having the heels leaning on the pedals allow us to play also at speeds that are too fast for the leg motion and too slow for an heel up motion. So you can play all those speeds at like from 150 to 190 BPMs, which usually creates the problem of being too fast for the leg and being too slow for just the ankle, because it's great for your balance, and the amount of the range of motion that the ankle does, it's great for those timings. So I suggest to try playing in this way for those timings, but you can also use it for, you know, slow parts or even very fast drumming. A lot of drummers use this as their speed technique. So you just have to maybe set the pedal in order that you don't have a lot of rebound, because not having a lot of range of motion possibility of range of motion in this technique, you don't want to have too much rebound. You don't want to have too much comeback of the pedal, but you want to have a pretty light setting. So loosen the spring will help a lot in the heel down. So today's workout for the heel down, it's going to be, first of all, find the right motion with our body. So spend some time to do this without the pedal, without anything, just feeling like the motion and the feeling that you're having is correct, working on the up motion. So don't work at a very low range of motion, but have a good dynamic always, because then we have to think about the fact that if the pedal requires us this much of comeback, this much of motion, and we're trained to just this much because we raised our foot this much, we won't be ready for the pedal request once we go on the pedal with the spring. So first of all, work on our dynamic and our motion without the pedal. Then we will go on the pedal without the spring, and we will work on 1 foot at a time, playing single strokes, finding a comfortable speed at which we can just maintain the rebound. So the goal is to keep the rebound going for 60 seconds with no mistakes. So having a regular motion, notes even, the spaces between the notes even, the dynamic even, not to have weird shuffle or weird dynamics in between. Feeling relaxed, stay in unison with the board, with both right and then left foot. And then we can also work unison. And then alternate it. And also here, let's make sure that the quality of our playing is very good, is very high, so that the spaces between the notes, the dynamics between the right and left are even, and everything sounds solid. Then we can repeat this, starting from a slow, speeding it up, 1 foot at a time, and then slowing it back down again, then speeding up again. And while we speed up and we change the tempo, nothing has to change in the feeling or in the approach that we have to the heel down and with the pedal. Then we can also work unison. And alternate it. Then we'll put the spring back on and we'll repeat the same exact exercise. So as I was saying before, the first stroke, it's always going to be a leg motion, and then we will keep maintaining the rebound and the motion only with the heel down. So in this way. Then we'll work on speeding it up and slowing it back down. So the unison section, when we have the spring on, is not necessary because it's kind of hard to synchronize it and to coordinate it, and we never really play in that way. So the heel down, it's a great exercise because it really works a lot on our up motion, and this benefits power, speed, but also control and the dynamic range and the range of motion of our ankle motion. So have a good practice, and I'll see you next time.